What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Her Lounge podcast. It is a solo podcast today. Marissa will not be joining us. She's busy. She said she was going to take this day to take advantage because her husband's in town and do some of her own shit that she needed to do. So I said, that's cool. I get it. I got you, girl. So before we get started, guys, you know that I always like to start with something positive. And, you know, it's still Women's Month. And so it's not done. I know if you're a guy listening to these episodes with your wife or your girlfriend, you're probably like, is she still talking about Women's Month? Yes, because it's Women's Month every month. How about that? So anyhow, here we go. Be so confident in who you are that no one's opinion, rejection, or behavior can rock you. How about that?
Damn, I like it.
I know, because confidence is key to everything that you do. So crazy. This is like apples and oranges right now that I'm about to get into, but you know how I keep talking about that little gadget that I have in my restroom, right, where I watch videos?
Yes.
So Marissa started sending me these videos about prostitutes, drugs, like
not
drug.
where I thought you were going.
This is the crazy thing, because this is why I'm telling you. I watched one yesterday about an escort.
In the shower?
Yeah. I mean, I watched these episodes end up being 20 minutes.
You're like, I watched this prostitute.
Yeah.
What a great promotion for that device.
Yeah, right. I know. Once I get I already thought about my tushy, how I'm going to reach out to them and how I'm already going to do my commercial.
Dude, we did a whole little bit about that. Not bit, but Chingo's telling me that he couldn't hook up the warm water because he's not very handy. So he's got cold water shooting up there.
Yeah. No comment on that.
No comment.
But like I said, when I'd get my, my code for my tushy, I already have my little commercial ready, because that my tushy is, man, I hate going, like, everyone should have a bidet. If you don't own one, listen.
That's what he said.
Wet wipes are great. I used to do wet wipes. Then we got it during the pandemic.
What, my tissue?
Yes. Because this toilet paper issue was out of control.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous with this toilet paper shit. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
So, you know, wet wipes aren't that great for your toilet, even though there's flushable ones, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, at first when Pete told me about it, I was like, ew, like, who wants their booty wet? Like, I don't want my booty all wet. Like, I just want to use my wet wipes, and, you know, you wipe with the dry one and you're done, you know? He's like, but I'm telling you, like, because Joey Diaz always talked about this. I was like, fine. I was like, let's do it. They're not cheap either. I'll just tell you that. I forgot how much they were, but they're not like $50.
They were like $500, I think.
No, I didn't pay $500. They were having a sell during the pandemic. They're no dummies. Plus, we used Joey's code.
Promo code Herr.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then it was cheaper. But man, like, I know Europeans use it. When we went to Europe, we saw it in a lot of like the public restrooms and so forth. But I just like, ew, like, that's getting sprayed in everybody's booty. Like, that's how I saw it, right? I was like, that's gross. My girlfriend Rania, her mom has one at her house, and when she told me, she's like, my mom put a bidet in her restroom. Can you believe that shit? I was like, oh no, you know, because I thought it was gross.
Meanwhile, we're the dirty Americans.
Exactly. We are. Sitting is not the proper way to poop or pee. You know that, right?
You're supposed to squat.
You're supposed to squat. Like, and it makes sense when you think about it. Guys, I don't know why we're having this conversation. This went total left. We went from talking about prostitutes and then my tushy. But my point of that is that get you one.
You need a squatty potty as well, so that you put yourself into that squat position, because it raises your feet up. Do you have one?
No.
Squatty potty.
What?
It tucks into the bottom of the bowl, and then you pull it out, and it's like you have a stool that brings your legs up, so it puts you at that parallel, like you're squatting position. So it's better for your abdomen. It's better for your core.
Yes. Yeah. What? You should have told me that. I need to look at that shit up. I never knew that was not normal. I remember when I went to China for the first time, the first time I went, not with Pete, I went to a public restroom. And I come out and I tell my girlfriend, I'm like, there's no toilet. Like, where do I go to? She's like, it's on the floor. China.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
And I was like, what? That's a drink. Like, I'm supposed to pee in there? And she's like, girl, yes. She's like, you just squat and you pee. I was like, ew. And I was like, this is really like weird. And it's crazy because you finish and it's this automated thing, and it washes even though you're peeing in an actual like little sinkhole,
Yeah.
but it like washes. It's like when you flush the toilet. You know how it kind of flush. Well, it's the same thing, but it cleans it. You get out, you close. It's an automated. You know, China's up with the latest technology always. So, but you do pay 5 cents to get in, but it's because it's like an upscale little restroom type thing. I was like, yo, I cannot believe I just squatted to pee. I mean, I've squatted in a public restroom, but I mean, I'm on the floor type thing. That's because there's nothing. It's just a floor. So it was trippy to me the very first time. And then when I started reading about it, I was like, wait, what? We're the gross ones because we sit on. I never even like thought about it that way, right? Because this is so normal to us.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they see us as the gross ones. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. I mean, it's just like I would see parents out there in China. Diapers are so expensive over there. We're talking about like $60-$70 for a box because they have to be imported, right?
That could be a day if you've got a real poopy baby.
Man, the grandparents, because that's kind of who takes care of it, or their IEs, which is the IE is like a it really means like Branya said IE really means like ma'am, but they use that, it's a respectful way of saying like the nanny or my person that cleans my house and stuff like that. So it's her IE was, so most IEs know when the baby's about to poop. They pull the pants down, they roll out a newspaper, they fold the baby like a little taco like this, and then they just poop. They wipe their butts, pick it up, and throw it in the trash. I was like, well, how do they know that? Something about the body. They already know, like...
The chakras, the whole...
I was like, I can't even get Penny to go pee.
Oh, yeah. How's that going, by the way?
Oh, my God. Don't even get me started. Man, I put an underwear on her the other day.
So have you done your little 3-day test where you were going to have her...
I haven't. That's going to happen... When do we go to Mission? Next week.
Friday?
Yeah, next week. Yeah. So next week I'm doing it.
Why? Are you going?
I'm going, but because this is it's not a comedy club, so it's outside. I don't know how that's gonna go, so that's why I'm traveling with him. Kind of like the same. Usually, I'm gonna try to stay back on the ones that are this year. I'm gonna try to stay back just to see kind of how it works on the ones that are in an actual comedy club versus the ones that are not. And we're gonna test it. I don't know that it'll work because it has never worked. I get a phone call. I mean, hello.
I know we did a podcast.
We were doing a podcast during the last one. Okay. And that one was at a comedy club.
Yeah, but that was kind of like just a weird coincidence. Not coincidence, but instance.
So for some reason, these guys just really I think they just like that when I'm there, they know what to do. Everybody knows what's going on versus they get there. Now they're having to figure it out. Maybe they're just, I don't know if it's just laziness or if I've just spoiled them to the point where it's like, well, she handles it, she knows what's going on, this is how we, and I tell them what they have to do. Does that make sense? Like, okay, you are doing this, you are doing that. So everybody kind of just knows their role. And it's like, this is my job today. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe they need a manager on the road. I don't know. But anyway, next week, so because we're going to be gone so many days, I like to spend time with Penny. So I'm going to do the whole Monday through Wednesday, and then Luisa takes over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because we don't come back till Sunday. So did he tell you what we're might do out there?
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to stay an extra day.
Cool.
So those 3 days, which kind of sucks because I really like to take Penny to go do stuff. When I'm with her, I don't like to like be at home, but you have to be at home when you're potty training.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have a choice. So I'm going to try I already thought about all the activities we're going to do at home, so that I can entertain her here, but I'm going to dedicate those 3 days to her. I have to get her to go to the potty because I really want her to go and be able to be in gymnastics, go to preschool next year. I mean, come on. Like, I can't have her I tell her, do you want to go to school? You know what she says? She goes, no, yo con mami. I'm like, this is how antisocial my child is because I was so scared for her to like, be at a school. I had no control. That's the controlling in me, I think. You know what I'm saying? That was my fault. I'm not going to lie. But then this goes into what I watched last night. So I really think, and I could be wrong, right? When you see your child, you kind of know a little bit what she might be good at this, right? Like, totally. Right? Can you see that? Okay. So for me, I feel like Penny is going to either be between gymnastics and dancing because she likes to jump, move. Those are her jams. And then she loves to dance, right? So that's why I think those two are going to be her thing just from watching her, right? But then I think she's also going to be a comedian because this girl will be trying to like do funny stuff and makes fun of Pete all the time. It's hilarious. But I really think so, right? Last night, have you watched Athlete A?
No, what's
or
this?
something like that? It's about the gymnastics, the Olympic girls that were molested by that doctor,
Oh, no.
Larry, whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Pete went to go record last night, so I was home alone. And I was just like, at first I was like online looking for Easter stuff, right? As Easter's coming, and I'm like trying to get the girls' baskets and see. I like to get ideas, right? So I was on Pinterest. Of course, y'all know Pinterest is my
Way ahead of
jam,
the game.
man. Oh yeah, always. And so I'm like, so I'm kind of listening but not watching. Off subject, guys. Has anybody turned this way to where now you don't really care to watch? You're more of a listener, because I listen to so many podcasts. There's nothing to look at. It's like I'm okay with just listening. I no longer need
The visual.
Totally. That's crazy. I don't know. I was thinking about that yesterday because I was on Pinterest, but I was listening, just not watching. So anyway, I was just tripped out. This has been going on for a hot second, but they're such a cult. They don't tell on each other. So there was reports since 1975.
Damn.
And they like just swept it under the rug.
Them is like the people in charge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And these are women who were like Olympians, not winners, but they were part of the Olympic team.
Yeah.
They reported it. And then it was like, but they're so young. They didn't know that it was a bad thing. They thought it was almost like, oh, this must be what the doctor does. So check this out. This is how it happened. This last Olympic team, the one that this came out on the news and stuff, the little girl who reported it, check this out. She was one of the best ones, and she didn't get selected to be a part of that team because although no one has said that's the reason why, it's obvious because she was the one that reported it. So there's this ranch here in Texas, because this is where it's known to be, right? Where they take these girls to train to be a part of the Olympic team. Okay. They can't communicate with anybody. They only get like an hour to talk to their parents, and that's it. And they check in, and the parents can't communicate. It's like they're only talking to the coaches. How is your child doing? It's to bring zero distraction to them. Right. So the little girl that reported it, she said that she goes, hey, and this was her thing. She's like, I've been a gymnast since I was 3 years old. Okay. She's had plenty of physical therapists throughout life because you have injuries all those times,
Yeah.
So she knew what physical therapy was supposed to be like, but this one time he fingered her. And so she was like, what? Like, this is what's going on. Like, and she was like, you shouldn't be doing this. And he's like, no, it's part of it because I have to like realign, blah, blah, blah. And so he was like, she thought it was just like odd. Like, this is not normal. So she tells a friend, and she goes, hey, does Dr. Larry, whatever his name is, does he do this? She goes, oh yeah, all the time. It's normal. They're so, they think that's been the normal thing to do.
Been programmed. Yeah.
So she's like, no, that's not normal. And so she reported it to the coach. The coach calls mom, and she's like, wait, what the fuck? My daughter was fingered. She was molested. So then she calls the main guy. Last name's Penny. The only reason I remember that is because Penny, the main guy of the gymnastics organization, right? He's the one that announces like, who made the Olympic team and so forth. And so she's like, okay, well, we're going to take care of this. She's like, I'm calling the cops. I need a report. She's like, no, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of this. We'll report it. We have a detective. We handle these things. She's like, wait, so it's not the first time this has happened? She's like, excuse me. It's like, we've got it. Don't worry about it. So she's like, this is really weird. Okay. Well, they've got it because they trust these people so much, because how could you do this to these children? Right. I mean, that's what you think. And so then I told Pete, I was like, what's crazy? And I'm not a helicopter mom, right? But in that sense, I think I would have been had I heard.
Oh yeah.
If my daughter said she was fingered by her doctor, and all you're saying is, no, you're gonna file it. No, bitch, we finna be on this. Where the fuck is she? Because I'm gonna go pick her up. Because this is not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And it would be like I would be out there like this is not gonna happen to my child. You know what I'm saying? But I get the parent, because the parent also. The child wants this so bad. This is her dream, to be on the Olympic team. She's dreamt of this day. She's shattered to pieces now because she didn't make it. Why didn't she make it when she was one of the best? One of the best. She was the top.
So how does that conclude? What happened to the guy? Because
I haven't finished watching it.
Okay.
But last night, and you know what? It was crazy. Because this is why Pete doesn't like to watch TV with me, because he says I watch the fucking hardest shit to go to sleep to. You know what I'm saying?
I can't sleep after this.
He's like, why are we watching this? This is so sick. Because now they're interviewing him finally, right? And here's why. 2 girls from like 1980s, right? One of the ladies said that she's like, I have 2 twins. They were having like these little issues. So she happens to go online. She gets on her laptop. The first thing that's on there is this story about that doctor. She was like, holy shit, I wasn't the only one. She had no idea. There's 500 cases of this.
What?
500. So she's like, this cannot be. No way. I should have reported this, blah, blah, blah. Another girl, I forget what her name is, she too had reported it a while back, reported it again when she realized it came out on the news, okay? Those 2 women were fucking bashed on the internet, talking about now they want a settlement, they want attention. I think one girl was like, they're just mad because they never did anything after that. You know what I'm saying? Basically, like, you guys just want attention. Why are you now 30 years later coming out saying this happened to you, right? And they were like, literally, like, they couldn't go to work. Like, their life got ruined because they reported this shit. So it happened to fall in the hands of a female detective, right? And so she was like, hey, somebody called and reported this. Have you taken a look at this? She's like, yeah, it's weird, right? Like, 30 years later, isn't it weird? But then that mom, who didn't hear nothing back from them, she reported that shit. She was like, fuck this. Y'all aren't doing anything about this. I'm taking it now to the police because y'all are playing games. So she finally took it to the police, and that's when they called him in. And one of the questions that they asked him was like, so could you get aroused when you're sticking fingers in a vagina? He's like, what? Like, aroused? I mean, like, well, what? How aroused? Like, what do you mean by aroused? He just like, and then he would explain things when she would ask him stuff. He would use these fucking medical terms that you would be like, okay, layman's terms, please, because I don't know what that means. And he was doing it on purpose because he obviously knew this detective had no idea what that meant. And she says it in the interview. She's like, of course, I didn't know what he was talking about. But he couldn't answer. He was getting nervous. And that's where I'm at right now, where they're interviewing him. Damn. And I just like kind of like thought to myself, it's like, oh, man, isn't it so crazy? Oh, then Pete's like, yeah, I don't know about Penny doing gymnastics now. He's like, I don't know about this. I was like, that's just the thing. Like when I would take Mickey in, listen, the guy who would do private lessons with Mickey is my friend from elementary school. Okay. He's a coach. His parents are deaf. That was my deaf influence, were his parents. Wow. Because I was in 2nd grade with his brother. And so his mom would volunteer at school. And that's where my obsession for ASL came about. That's where I was like, wow, this is so fucking dope. Like, please teach me. He would always say, hell no. He's like, once you learn, he's like, everyone's going to depend on you. He's like, they're going to want you to interpret all the time, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, it's no different than what I do currently now for my parents. So yeah.
Time to open a business.
Yeah. I was like, okay. So, even though he's my friend of years, right? I never left Mickey by herself. Like we would sit there and watch the whole session. You know, it's an hour and 30 minutes long and I didn't give a damn. I'd bring my laptop. whatever it was, I'd sit there and watch her. But I'm like that, right? I also don't let Mickey go to the restroom by herself. You know, I mean, she just started going to the restroom by herself here recently. Like, go by yourself, baby. You're like grown now, right? But when she was little, it was funny because one time I had her and Pete's niece. And so she would go already to the restroom on her own, not by herself. Her mom would accompany her, but she wouldn't, like her mom and her wouldn't be in the same stall. See, I've always gone in the same stall with Mickey. I've never let her go by herself. You know what I'm saying? So I remember Bella was in there and I said, you want to come in? She's just like, no. I'm like, bitch, I want to go to my own stall. Like, I'm not going to the restroom. I said, okay, well, you can't come out until I get out. Okay. It's just like, okay. So she's like, we're next door. And she's like, I'm done. I was like, okay, cool. We'll wait there because Mickey's going, then it's me, and then you can get out of the stall. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you're not getting out. Can you imagine if somebody goes in there? Fuck that shit. Like, people are crazy now. And that's what I mean. This whole story thing is like, I've been watching crazy shit. And then Marissa sending me this prostitute stuff. And the confidence thing has nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? I know this is crazy, but this escort that I watched yesterday, she had so much confidence to where in her eyes, she said it, like legit said it. I am not a prostitute. I am an escort. There's a difference. I was like, well, what's the difference? Basically, hers is like prostitutes are out there roaming the street looking for a client.
I'm in a high rise.
Exactly. She's like, I have my clients. I have my money. She drives a badass car, lives in a badass house. Ain't no issues with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, to her, it's like, this is like a high-end job. They're lower class. That's legit how she made it like seem like. But it's funny because I'm like, Marissa, like after a while, I said, I feel like I'm the prostitute. Like I've been the one having all this sex because you feel so sick after watching these prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? Or she'll send me somebody on drugs. I'm like, Marissa, she goes, I'm obsessed with them. And you probably heard of them. Let me tell you the name of these, what do you call it? Damn videos I've been watching with Marissa. Every time Marissa tells me about it, I'm like, oh, Marissa, why do you send me this? Soft White Underbelly. Have you ever heard of those? It's like documentaries.
No.
Just mini documentaries. They're not that long. They're like 20 minutes usually.
On YouTube or what?
YouTube. Soft White Underbelly.
I saw soft W and it came up right away.
Yeah. So he's got interviews about all sorts of stuff. That's where I saw the transgender one where his grandmother, bro, was his first little fucking pimp. Like that was in the grandmother owed money to somebody, let them come rape him. Oh my God. It was like, that's the kind of shit, Marissa. I was like, Marissa, why do you watch this? She goes, because then it makes me realize I'm not that fucked up. I'm like, oh my God, Marissa, seriously. But
the first three is heroin addict, fentanyl addict, crystal meth addict.
Yes.
Christ.
I watched one yesterday because, you watch those so it'll suggest another one. I saw another one yesterday called Homeless Couple Speak on Addiction, right?
All right.
This one's called Tales from the Grave, right? And so then that one I watched, and they're really young. The little boy's 19. She's only 21, okay? They're homeless. They are on drugs. I don't even know what this is. What is blue? What kind of drug is that?
Viagra?
Oh, I don't know. And that's when I feel like, girl, you thought you were street smart. You are not street smart because you don't even know what this drug is. But doesn't it make you sad? Like sometimes, like, okay, I live downtown, right? On my side, like I've talked about before, you don't see homeless on my side. But the minute you go around the corner from me, it is I know this reference is so dumb because a school is for fish, but you know what I'm saying? A school of homeless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just in the corners, We went to Dairy Queen. Did B tell you about the story? We went to Dairy Queen the other day, and I take Penny. We decide to go live, and this guy's like, I'm not out here begging. He's like, so I'll rap I was like, I don't have any money. He's like, I'll rap for my meal. And I was like, listen, you don't have to rap. I said, but can you just like, let me enjoy our family time and I'll go get you whatever you want. Just give me a bit. All right. At this point, the nice person in me is gone because you're being aggressive. And now I have to put up my, like, you know what I'm saying? Like my little defense fucking mode on, you know, I have a child in my belly. My husband's here. Like, we finna fight if something goes down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, he moves over there to the side and then he's like, all right, so we're talking, we're live, and we're still eating our ice cream. There's too much wind blowing, so Penny's getting ice cream all on her. So I told Pete, let's just go back inside. He goes, so what? Y'all ain't gonna give me my food? Huh? I ain't gonna be out here begging. I was like, you are begging because you're out here asking me to get your food. That's called begging. And he's just looking at me. I said, no one said I'm not getting it for you. I had to get an attitude. Like, I didn't want for him to feel there was any, almost like a dog. You know how you tell a dog, like, you have to act like you're not. I was like, I didn't want him to feel like there was any intimidation here. Like, you're not going to bully us. You know what I'm saying? And so then Pete goes, let me get him out of our hair. So we're going to enjoy this damn ice cream together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we couldn't even have a conversation, you know? So he goes and gives him a chili dog or some shit and fries and a drink and brings it out to him. And he's just sitting out there. I'm like, yet he had a brand new iPhone, like the newest one, like better than what I have.
What?
And it falls out of his pocket. And I'm like, see, this is why it's hard for me sometimes to give to these homeless. And
what do you call them? Are they panhandlers, right?
Panhandlers. And have you seen those signs that they're around the city lately where it says, don't give money to panhandlers, donate to blah, 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 blah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So there's these new signs around the city that I've noticed. And I said, I wonder why that's happening. I wonder if it's getting so bad out there, especially because I had never seen them prior to the pandemic.
Dude, I love the H, but if I'm not here, I'm not in downtown. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just...
Yeah.
Hopefully it comes back, but I've lost the desire to explore anything as of like the last year, I guess.
Yeah, I love living here. I've told Pete that before. He's ready to move. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to be here anymore.
By the way, Oxycontin is blue.
So. Oxycontin. So what is that?
Oxycodone, actually.
What is that? What's it used for or what?
Other names would be like, Perks, Oxys. I guess, what is that? It's called it's an opioid.
Man, those kids made me so sad to where I feel like you can still save them because they're younger versus the older ones have just been out on the street a little bit longer. They're kind of already kind of set in their ways, if that makes sense. They've kind of made up their mind. That girl that was talking, the young couple that I watched, it just made me sad because, again, it goes back to what Marissa says. It's like childhood trauma. So the mom... That boy's mom, check him out, this is how he became a drug addict, was his parents owed money to a drug dealer.
Oh, damn. That's going to get real dark.
His parents owed money to a drug dealer. So they turned around and said, here you go. Made him have sex with another man.
No.
As their pay. Like, here.
So how do you sleep if you're watching this late at night? Midday, in the shower. I forgot you were in the shower.
I know.
Even if you started your day with a cup of coffee in these videos, at least you're like, you're stimulating the brain. You're getting these thoughts, maybe some emotions and feelings. The cortisol might be rising, obviously, because of the coffee and the stress. But in the shower,
I don't know why. I told Marissa, I said, I think you're sick. I said, why do you send me these things? But now I feel like I've jumped on the sick bandwagon because now that's what I watch when I'm in the shower. Before, I used to tell you, I used to watch luxury review videos, like women reviewing their new luxury purses, right? That was my other one. That was like, yeah, this is great. You know what I'm saying? It takes my mind off of things. And it's a funny thing because I know this girl for a long time, and man, she is at the Louis Vuitton store minimum. This past week, she was there 3 times and bought a new item each time.
What?
I was like...
What did she do, review them or just for fun? Or
No, this is her. I know this person.
Oh,
so
okay,
I'm saying,
okay.
I watched, right? For me, lately, when I watch the luxury reviews, right, it almost takes away from the urge of me wanting to go buy one because I saw someone review it already. I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's that much of a fun purse, right? Like, it's weird. I don't know.
Fun purse.
Yeah. So I'm like, So
I'll buy more gadgets for my shower.
Yeah, it's like okay. So it's funny because I was like, I was watching her store. I'm like, Maureen, you're here again? It's like, you just were in Chicago on vacation and you went into the Gucci and Louis Vuitton store and walked out with something new. And the fanny pack that I talked about last time that I like walked in, walked out, walked in, walked out before I decided I'm doing it, I'm buying it, right? She had just got that for her trip to Chicago. Okay. Now, the fanny is not in an insane amount of money. It's not over $2,000, but it's not less than $1,500. Okay. So I'm just
Dude, that's the funniest way I've heard anything described price wise. It's not over 2,000, but it's not less than 1,500.
Right. So
for a fanny pack.
For a fanny pack, yes. So I know. And I don't be liking it like I'm not so that's why I love that luxury. I hope that she hasn't replied. I need to reach out to her again. I really wish that she would be on because prior to that, I can't stand when someone is like on there just showing off their bags, but she does such a good job of like telling you she's got a wish list. Like,
I want to see this. I want you to send it to me.
Yeah, you have to. Like she does such a good job of like.
Because I think you've explained this to me, where it's not like a braggy kind of way. It's like a.
It's like legit a review. Like it's a review. It's not like, oh, I have all these bags. Look at my collection. Legit, it's like.
Does she also give off like this is what you could expect when you buy it, as if the people watching will also buy it?
Well, because she gives you codes to like because she also buys from like used luxury items, but she tells you how to purchase them.
Like secondhand stuff. Resale?
Yeah, it's like these are called
consignment places or what?
Yes, almost like a consignment, but these are online now. Like there's a bunch of them like that. Now I think there's one called Farfetch.
What's the most? There's one that's really popular, right? Is that it? Farfetched? It's not like Poshmark, right? It's not like excuse me, Poshmark. You can sell your luxury items. Funny thing, or not funny, but what do you call it? Brennan Schaub's wife. Yeah.
All she has is like luxury items on her Poshmark.
Oh, funny.
But I need to see the inside of the purses, and I don't ever get to see the inside. And to me, the inside is always important because I don't know how dirty it is inside. You know, I buy like another thing that goes inside the purse, the Louis Vuitton purses, so that the inside doesn't get dirty.
Oh my God. Is it a Louis Vuitton product?
No.
Okay.
No. It's like something somebody made up, but they're smart. They made them the same. They knew what they were doing. They made them the same color as the inside of a Louis Vuitton bag. So they have them in red, tan, and the pink, because those are the three kind of colors that they do inside.
It's like the couches back in the 80s and 70s with the plastic over it.
Exactly. It's funny though, because it's crazy, because I was looking at how I store my bags, and I don't store my bags the way these luxury ladies do. Like they
climate control.
Yeah, like they have
low
their
humidity.
Shit. I went in my closet the other day. I was like, you know, you be acting like you got all this money. Your purses are just on these shelves. Like, don't even like.
Well, it shows that you're not too attached to them, though. You appreciate them, but
I love them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love them. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. Am I itching for a new bag? Totally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want a new bag. You know, but then like I said, every time I want to go in there, I always think about like, well, what else could you do this? Could you invest it a different way?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like.
Let's kind of talk about that a little bit, because we've gotten really weird at the beginning half of this podcast.
Everyone's gonna be like, she went from prostitute and drug addict to that. But wait, my point to that is like, you're saying why I watch those things. I'm gonna honestly tell you why. Because it makes me also wonder what things we do wrong in society. You know how so much bad shit is just happening right now, right? It just makes me wonder, like, what happens? Like, I don't really realize. I don't know if parents really realize how much damage they can do to their kids with just the smallest things. You know, with just saying, you know, if you don't really take the time to know your child, right? Just by saying, "Oh, you get on my nerves," you know, to a child who's very sensitive, probably, or a child who like can take that to heart, and then it can develop like some kind of depression. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's little things. And I know there's this whole thing where like we've made such a soft generation, right? Sure. And I totally agree, which is like the reason why I don't 100% baby Penny. You know what I'm saying? I like tell her, like, you got it. Like when she drops something, she'll tell you, she'll call me, say, Mom. I'm like, girl, you better pick it up. I'm not picking that up for you. Like, she'll tell me to come pick it up for her. I'm like, no, eso no es mío, es tuyo. You know, and I like got to tell her. But it made me more sad because the girl that was being interviewed, she was on drugs, got clean for a year because she wanted her baby, right? So they took her baby away the minute she had her, okay? Even though she had been clean for a year. Basically the whole time she was pregnant, right? But because her stepdad and her mom were on drugs, it was considered an unstable household for her to live in, the baby. So they took the baby away, and her cousin, who couldn't have kids, is the one raising her. And so she's like, I wanted a better life for her, so I was okay with it. And so she's like, I haven't seen my child since she was 3 months old. And so that was 5 years ago.
Damn.
I was like,
oof.
How, okay, here, mentally, why aren't you strong enough yet to say, I've got to stop because I need to be there for my child so that my child doesn't go through the same shit that I went through, so that she doesn't live this addiction. She's like, she's living a great life. She's like, I guess her cousin must be gay because she said her and her partner, you know, they couldn't have kids. So, you know, she's living a great life. She's like, she's in a private school. So she's living great, right? But meanwhile, like any child, you want to know who your mom is, who your dad is, you know what I'm saying? All that, you know, it's insane to me, like how, I don't know. It makes you wonder, right? Like just where that happens. And that's what makes me think about also this crazier is like, okay, this is what I need to have on my podcast. I need to find guests that can speak professionally or from experience. Like I would love to have someone who was a recovering like addict. You know what I'm saying? Like what happens? That's honestly what it makes me think about, because I feel like, because I love helping, right? I love to help. I love to, you know what I'm saying, inform. It makes me think about like, you know what? There's shit out there in the world that no one else realizes it. And here we are crying over the smallest thing. And there's people out there really dealing with some shit, you know what I'm saying? And really going through it. And here we are like there, after you click on those things, there's one where it said like, mom lost everything during pandemic, living with twin kids in the car. And I'm like, okay, that's the kind of shit we're going through right now. And people have yet received their stimulus check. You see what I'm saying? So these videos, I know they're like out of control. Like, why are you watching this right before you go to bed? But it also makes me think about things that I need to talk about on the podcast,
sure,
you know?
Yeah.
And like, okay, where can I find a recovering addict, you know what I'm saying, who's been, I would love to have a comparison of a recovering addict a year who's been just recovered for a year, someone who's been like 10, 15 and 20, someone who's just like has to, because I saw a recovering addict story on there. And they said it's been 25 years for them, and they still every day work at it. Like they have to, he said, I know I'm not mentally strong enough, so I stay away from anything that could possibly a little bit trigger it. He said, even as far as driving down a street where he knew that once there he did a drug, or you know what I'm saying, or if he was hanging out there with friends, he won't even go drive down that street.
It'll trigger it.
It'll trigger because he's afraid. He doesn't know if it will. He's just afraid. And that's what I mean. Like, there's just so many things out there like that people are just kind of like deal with and have to recover from it that we don't really think about, you know? Next month, I have her lined up already on April 1st.
Cool.
It's National Autism Day, right? And as someone who, during high school, I did that Future Teachers of America program. And so I always worked with the special ed department. I never liked working with the regular kids. I hated working with them. I was like,
The little brats.
Oh, I hated it. Like I would ask my teacher, like I'd beg her. I'd be like, Miss Carey, I will do 2 extra bulletin boards, because that was part of your grade too, to make sure you knew how to do like bulletin boards and all this stuff. I was like, I will do 2 extra bulletin boards if you want. I was like, but please don't put me in a regular class. Like I want to be with the special education. I really enjoyed it. I really did. And there too, I saw very sad things where I saw parents who just didn't want to deal with their kids. They wanted school to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? They wanted the psychiatrist to deal with them. They wanted the therapist to deal with them. Like, you figure it out and then just tell me what I need to do at home and I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Versus having an involved parent. You know what I'm saying? And it just kind of, that made me sad. And I used to be like, gosh, you know, and I think that's part of the reason too that made me like, you know, I don't want to fuck up a kid. I don't want to have no kids. And then I mess them up because, you know, I just, you know, I mean, those are risks that you take as a parent, I think, anyway. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know if you're going to mess them up or not. Or I really try to be conscious of my actions. I'm not going to lie to you. So Pete has a bad habit sometimes. If Penny's talking, he's busy doing something. So I'm like, hey, she's talking to you. You need to listen to her.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's the stupidest thing she wants. Don't ignore her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't ignore her. When she comes to the bed sometimes and she wants to chit chat at 3 a.m, I don't cut her off, right? I don't cut her off. I'll say, vale, ¿sabes qué horas es? She goes, Pete, oh, noche. I said, noche. Tenemos que dormirnos, okay? Okay, mami. But I'll let her say whatever she needed to say first before I cut her off. And I say it in a very nice way. I don't be like, ya vale, cállate. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't do that. Although deep down inside, I do because it's 3 a.m. Like, girl, why are you in my room anyway? You know? So
Mommy was up to 1 watching videos.
I sure was. I was up to 1 last night finishing that. I was trying to finish the gymnastics. I was like, I'm going to bed. It's 12:50. I can't do this. I'm not young like that anymore.
Yeah.
And I was hurting in the morning to get up, you know? So I try to be conscious of those things. And then I don't know why, but I feel like here more recently, I've had friends that I know, Marissa to begin with, whose child's been diagnosed with autism. And I'm really wondering why it's happening more and why I hear more about it here lately. So I'm having someone come on. She's not a professional. She's just a child whose kid suffers from autism, but she's so involved, super duper involved, 100%. And she's really good about telling his story. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his challenges, the things that he goes through, you know, and the reason I take Penny to We Rock the Spectrum, which I didn't know, Spectrum. I didn't really even put 2 and 2 together. They're also designed for children who are at the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? The activities in there. I mean, you went to didn't you go to her birthday party? No. Y'all didn't go because y'all didn't have the kids that time. So the activities there are designed for both children. So whether you're on the spectrum or not.
I totally thought you went there for that because of that, because it was like...
No, I didn't even... I mean, I get it, the name, but I didn't know it was specifically designed for that, right?
Side note, I saw her swinging on a thing yesterday. She like doesn't let go. She swings all the way.
She's scared. And then she started to try to let go. She would let go before getting into I was like, great, Penny.
Keep hanging on to it.
I was like, just don't. She didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, that's fine. Don't do it anymore. I was like, you don't get it, boo.
I thought she was going to flip over the end of it.
She's crazy, I swear. But she, so anyway, I noticed that they had a quiet room there. And so it's for children, obviously, with autism. So yesterday when we took her, there was occupational therapists there from Texas Women's University. And they were there working with children, right? And so I just kind of talked to that girl and I was just like, so what exactly? She's like, well, you know, you kind of have to like, depend on where they are on the spectrum. You know, there's different activities, whether they're like socially awkward or, you know what I'm saying? And it was funny because Pete's like, let me get away before she starts talking to me and discovers I'm on the spectrum too.
That's hilarious.
Because I always tell him like, man, you're weird. I think you're on the spectrum, bro. Like I always, you know what I'm saying? Tease him about that. I'm like, my gosh, you know?
Bro, you're weird.
I'm like, gosh, sometimes I'll look at him. He's like, I know what you're thinking. I know. It's like, man, it's like my poor children. But
I think I even do that to Don. It's just because like, I don't know. I always say, and you always say as well, it's a Libra thing. Is it that we have too much like, I don't know, common sense, or is it like we're very in tune with most shit around us? Like we're very vigilant
and we're very observant. Like that's what Pete always says. Like, man, you're just like, he's like, you know everything. He's like, If I buy something, I'm like, and if he buys something for like, let's just say, for example, he changes maybe the brand or something of something the girls usually get. I'm like, well, why did you get that? He's like, because they didn't have the one that you said, but I figured, I'm like,
you're hyper aware all the time.
I'm super hyper aware. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
what you don't understand is like their taste buds. Listen, I'm not a picky eater. Like I said before, I was a chubby child, so I had no problem eating. Penny didn't as a baby either. Then all of a sudden she started getting super picky. She's on the same verge as Mickey. Mickey was always super picky to where I had to figure out ways where I can get some protein in her, where I had to figure out ways to get vegetables in her. To where I started buying the superfood, protein shake stuff, where I would make it in the morning, banana, peanut butter for her, made it tasty for her, but it had vegetables and all kind of stuff in it and minerals. And so Penny looks like she's going on that route, but Pete was a picky eater as a child. His taste buds as he became an adult changed as he explored more and did more things, you know? So I think that's where they get it from, because I'm not a picky eater at all. Mine's more of a, if you do something while you're cooking and it'll gross me out, then I can't eat it. It has nothing to do with the, like if you cough, have that like cough,
while you're
that's
cooking?
it. Oh,
You can't eat that meal.
Especially if you do it in the morning. I can't listen to anybody in the morning blow their nose, cough, do that morning cough. I don't know why.
Morning cough. You live with old people? Who's doing that?
When you go to school, like have you ever been like a school and like your teacher just all of a sudden your older teacher just kind of I used to be like, God, why do you have to cough? Like, I used to be like, what's all up in there that you're coughing like that? I don't know.
Isn't it weird too that they would have like this handkerchief that they'll blow their nose and then put it back in their pocket?
Yes, I know. It's like crazy, but
Sucious.
I know. I never realized what that place was for. It's great, guys. If you're in Houston, if you've never been, to We Rock the Spectrum, I would totally recommend it. And listen, it's made super duper kid proof to where they can jump anywhere and hit their head and they'll be fine. That's why I like going there. And moms, if you have work to do, you can actually work and and let them play because you know they're going to be safe. Versus going to a park and you know they're going to fall. You got to be 100% alert. I mean, we do that too, but if I have work to still do, then I'll take her there. But I see that I talk to more of my girlfriends and they're discovering their children have autism. And I really would love to see, like, I really need to sit down and actually go down this rabbit hole because I'd love to see if it's in the food. Is it something moms are doing? What is causing autism so much more here lately? Because I swear to you, I hear it a lot more. I just had another girl that I know, she was asking me questions about Penny because her and Penny are about the same age. We were pregnant. I think her son's like 6 months older than Penny, something like that. And she said, is Penny doing, wow, Penny knows how to do all that? And I was like, yes. She goes, well, what do you do with her? I'm like, listen, you got to remember too, parents can't be hard on themselves. If you're not somebody who likes to sit there and doesn't have like teaching ways, I guess, or like somebody, you got to remember, I wanted to be a teacher at one point. So for me, it's fun. I like it. You know what I'm saying? So me watching her, what fascinates me the most is watching a child figure out that they learned how to do something and just watching it for me is amazing that they're these little humans and their brain is starting to like figure shit out. It's amazing for me to see that. Like I you have no idea. Like that's why I never liked working with middle school or high school kids. It was always the elementary school. And I never did 4th or 5th grade. I couldn't fucking stand those kids either. I was like, oh, you know, mine was literally pre-K through 3rd. And I would beg. I did go to high school. Do the high school teaching special ed also as well. So I did do that, but I couldn't, I tried middle school one time and I was like, why is y'all having sex in middle school?
What?
This one girl already had sex and she was in the 7th grade. I was like, we got assigned when I was in that program. My teacher had also said like, hey, they're looking for big sister, big brothers. Would you be interested? Because I was on the drill team. So we also got credit for that, for your Letterman jacket. Holla. So I said, yeah, I'll take it so I can get my Letterman, my little patch. And so I try so hard to like be positive toward, like, do positive things for her to see, like, hey, I'd go pick her up and be like, hey, come to our practice, come do this, come do that. And it's like, she liked that hood lifestyle to where her older brother and sister were like in a gang.
Oh,
and so she wanted to be in that. I don't really know, to where I later found out, when I left the program, she had been like a victim of a gang bang because her brother was being initiated.
Oh my God.
But she was okay with it because she also wanted to be in the gang.
Huh. And that's the kind of shit that goes on out there.
Yeah. And that's why I'm telling you, it's a crazy world. I know this episode's probably not the most interesting to a lot of you guys listening, but guys, have you just ever sat back and thought about, like, we do our thing every day. It's a routineful life. If you think about it, we do the same thing over and over. You know, it's like yes, there's new shit that happens, but we kind of like
it's all
get up.
Changes,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it's like, I analyze a lot. I think
too much, I would say sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm in that same boat.
Yeah. Too much. A lot of times, actually. And I always have like 100 ways to figure something out. And I just wish that I could have one way versus the other 99 that I just thought about. But, I really pay attention to my surroundings, to what's going on. And it makes you wonder, like, really, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like, it's funny, today, Joseph said, man, this person always buys merch from you. I said, is it Tiffany Salazar? And he goes, yeah. I said, I know. I don't know who she is. I'm like, but same. I was like, she always buys. And I'm trying to find her because I don't know what her social media name is, obviously.
That's funny.
So that I could say, thank you for, like, I'd love to shout her out because it's true. She always, like, if I drop something new, she may not buy it instantly, but at some point she's going to buy something later on or something. I don't know. And if I've met her, I'm sorry if I've met you before and I don't remember you, but thank you. What is her? I just said her name. Damn.
Cynthia?
No,
Sylvia?
Salazar. Tiffany Salazar.
Tiffany,
there we go. So, anyway, so if you're listening, thank you. I really appreciate it because I remember it's a true fan for sure. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm very observant. I already knew who Joseph was talking about just by him telling me, like, this person always, I'm like, oh yeah, is it Tiffany? He's like, yeah. But what I'm getting at is, like, I really am wondering, like, you know how, so it goes to vaccines, it goes to everything, because that's why I'm scared of vaccines, because there's been issues with some of those vaccines that children get where it could cause autism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I was so, like, way more cautious about the way Penny had her vaccines, during, when she was little. It's more work for the parent. You got to go once a month, you know what I'm saying, because you're not doing the whole concoction where she's taking 2 or 3 vaccines at one time. It's more work for the parent. But I go down those rabbit holes, and unfortunately it happened when I was pregnant. So you're so much more sensitive when you're pregnant. You're really thinking about shit, and it's kind of like you go down that little rabbit hole, and it's like, well, I don't want my child to, like, that's my fault should that happen because I didn't do the research about vaccines. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of parents out there that don't vaccinate at all. Luckily, I think I've said this before, but Texas is the one state where you don't have to vaccinate your child. You can actually get a exemption so that your child doesn't have to be vaccinated. My midwife didn't vaccinate any of her children. They've never had any of the vaccines. Now, Penny has had her vaccines. She just follows a different schedule.
Yeah. I don't know that not getting them is a good idea.
Yeah, same. I didn't want her not to have them.
Yeah.
I just didn't want her to have them the way they're designed the way they have them. And I don't know if it's for their convenience or if that's how they should be put together or if it's like...
I don't know, because I remember reading back in the day, like, it was like a dozen vaccines, and now it's like 60 or 70 or some shit like that. That's all kind of bundled into this initial, bam, one shot.
I think it's like the mRNA or something like that.
Yeah, that's like the COVID stuff, the COVID one.
Oh, there's a COVID one. That's one. Okay, see, I knew that. I told people there's one called like that for children too that they have to get when they're little. It's another version of that. Then I don't know what it's called, mRNA and something.
Yeah,
and it's like to avoid. What is that one for? That's the one though that can sometimes can cause autism for children.
Oh, specifically?
Damn, what is the name of that one? Rob, can you look that up?
Yeah.
Because damn, I'm almost
I I wish the table's on the other side because I wanted to have the monitor up. When we do these, you and I can pull stuff up and we could see things.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't plug it in on the side. Yeah, as we look that up, everybody.
See. Man, I forget what it's called, but I'm scared of it because I watched that Vaxxed documentary, and that parent that I told you guys. Did I tell you about that parent who she had twins? Mm-mm. And one twin was crying out of control when she took them in. And so the nurse had all the vaccines laid out for each twin, right? And so she turns around, right? The twin that she had here wouldn't stop crying. The other twin's getting vaccinated. She turns around to handle this. And then she goes, "Oh, what happened to the other She goes, the nurse goes, "Oh shit. So she gave that son one too many." That son. Okay, so the child was now her kid was 13, I think, 14. The girl spoke 6 different languages, played like 5 different instruments. They're twins, okay? She's a fucking genius, that daughter, right?
Yeah.
And same age, and she's got a little boy who the vaccine issue happened with, and he's got the mind of a little 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Jesus. And so she's like, she blames herself. You know what I'm saying? She should have read up on the vaccines. It's another one that Ricky Lake did.
Let's see.
Projected now with the clinical trials that they've been designed, that we will get children of high school age, that 12 to 17, 12 to 18, to be able to be qualified, as it were, on the basis of clinical trial, to get vaccinated by the fall. So we would expect that children going into high school in the fall will be able to go in vaccinated. It's a little bit later when you're talking about children of elementary school level. We've already started studies, what's called age de-escalation. You go from 12 to 9, 9 to 6, 6 to 2, and then 2 months to 2 years old. We can get to that point very likely in the very first part of the first quarter of 2022. So high school kids in the fall, elementary school kids in the first quarter of 2022.
So the trial will involve children aged 6 months to 11 years as Moderna tests the COVID-19
That's vaccine. Moderna, though. That's the COVID. But I can't think of what I need to bring her what do you call it? Her record next time so I can remember the name of those. I think it's like the 2-year-old vaccination. MR. For a toddler? Is that what it's called?
Let's see. This is from the CDC. The vaccines that's scheduled for 2 to 3 year olds. The influenza.
mRNA.
Which is basically the same thing.
Okay, it's this one.
That's what all this is. It's a big flu vaccine.
I don't give her a flu vaccine.
When's the last time you took a flu shot?
I've never taken it.
Exactly. I know people get up in arms about that.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm sorry if you disagree with that.
I don't get it. My children don't get it. Penny does. Mickey doesn't either. I remember I took her to the vet. Oh my god, to the pediatrician.
You took it
to the pediatrician one day, and they were asking if she was going to take the flu shot. And I looked at Mickey. I said, "Listen, I don't want you to have it, but at the end of the day, I have to call your mom and ask her." She goes, "I know my mom's going to say no because I don't want it." And I was like, "Okay, we're still going to have to call her." Luckily, her mom agreed. Like, no, don't let her get it. I was like, "Okay, good," because I just, I don't know. It's like, and that's kind of weird because I'm not against the COVID vaccine, right? I'm not against vaccines, period, right? But that vaccine hasn't been around long enough for me to even remotely even consider it. You made that thing up in what, a year? Not even.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10 months, which most take 4 to 5 years.
Exactly. And I'm not going to put that in me. I don't even know the side effects of that. Yeah. And granted, I know that there's this whole thing out there of like why side effects are great, why it's okay to have these side effects. It's like a form of showing that the vaccine is working. But I'm like, no, like I'm not having this vaccine put in me. You haven't done enough research on it. And I hate to say this, but all those people that have had it, thank you for doing it so that, they can continue to figure out what is good about it and what's bad about it. Cause I refuse to be that one person, you know what I'm saying? That is going to go test it out. I really feel like this is really should be for somebody who's more of an older age, or even people who have other like underlying issues. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's something that they need to do. But if you keep yourself pretty healthy, you exercise, etc., I think you're okay. Personally, I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but I think you're okay, right? And I think that you'll be fine versus someone who's got an underlying issue or somebody who is older, like my husband's parents, they got it done. I think they should have, because, like my mom wanted to get it done. I told her, why would you get it done? Like, you're fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, you're not over 65, she's only 59. And I don't know, like, and also she's a breast cancer survivor. So I told her, I said, you should probably ask your oncologist first, like if you should even consider that. And just because I'm terrified of it, I'm glad I'm pregnant and I don't have to take it. You know what I'm saying? Because I really feel like at one point they're going to force people to do it, because
if you want your freedom.
Yeah, there you go. Because I don't know where I was reading and that's where I told Pete, I was like, because he's like, well, eventually I'm going to probably have to get it. And I'm like, why? He's like, because they're not going to let us travel. They're not even going to let us jump on an airplane if you don't have this damn vaccination card that shows that you've had your COVID vaccine. I said, well, it looks like we're driving everywhere.
Yeah,
I said, because I'm not getting it. I said, I'm not getting it. I'll meet you there. I'll leave 2 days before. I said, because I'm not getting it. I was like, because I need for that shit to be around like 3 or 4 years, like before I'm going to consider doing it. And then once you show me that, yes, it's going to, and then on top of that is, I don't even know if there's new studies, like there's not enough studies for me.
No,
you know what
not.
I'm saying?
And this isn't RPT, but I will say real quick, if you're interested in looking up to it, they all have fact sheets now. You can go to Moderna, you can go to Johnson & Johnson, you can go to the Pfizer, all of their fact sheets with questions that people have asked, and just FAQs. They're not FDA approved. Fauci himself has been saying that they're all FDA approved. That is not true. They used executive orders to allow these to be given to people. They also, the contents of them, what they have, you can also dig into that. Maybe it goes against things you believe in and don't want to take it. And then there was something else too, but mainly that they're not FDA approved, and also that they've only been, it was 9-10 months that the development, took place. So maybe look into it and just see if like, hey, this is a little sketchy. I'm just probably going to wait a bit, wait another year or two if you want to take it then. Just my perspective.
I'd wait. Personally, I'm going to wait. I'm not saying like I would never get it done. I would never get it. I'm just saying I'm going to wait for that, because I just can't. And that's what I mean. Like, there's so many things that cause side effects. With anything, guys. That's why sometimes I know you, like someone said, you got to die of something anyway. I was watching a YouTube channel of another lady getting plastic surgery, right? This is her, she loves plastic surgery. That's her name is like Maripili plastic surgery or something like that. I forgot. She loves them. Like, she's obsessed with it. Like she has said, she's like, I love looking perfect. Like, this is what I like. Huh. I can respect somebody like that. Sure. If that's, you know what I'm saying? That's your thing. That's your thing. And she felt, it's funny because her thing was like, a lot of you women love to leave comments saying like, pinche vieja plástica, like talking shit. But she goes, but we're all going to die of something. At least I'm going to die happy. Like, and it's true. She made a really good point, right? Like, that's what she likes to do. And we all are going to die one day. But if you can prevent it from happening just because you're a little bit more cautious about the things that you put into your body, what you eat. I was talking to this with Sean today because I was telling him that, Pete's trying to get back on the menu that he had originally given him. And it's so much protein. And for him, it's like, I can't eat all this food. I said, I was like that when I first started competing, when I couldn't get to the 6th meal. I would text Christine and be like, I'm full. Like, I can't eat anymore. She's like, I know. She's like, but you got to get these in. She goes, your stomach, your metabolism will speed up to where you're going to want that 6th meal. You're going to be looking for it. I said, great. Let's see when that happens, right? And so she was right. I think it took maybe like 2.5 weeks for me. I was done. Like, after, I was like, holy shit, when do I get that last meal? Because I'm hungry, So we were talking about that this morning. When I was training, I was talking to Sean about it. I was like, he's still having a hard time eating it. I told him once the metabolism. He's like, yeah. I said, how much money do you spend on groceries? I was like, because there's 3 of us in the house. Then when Mickey's over, the groceries change, right? So I don't know. Again, I do budget, right? So I like going online to buy my food because I'm conscious of how much I'm spending.
Totally.
Usually us three, this is with buying the same stuff all the time, guys. I know it gets boring, but I'll change up how I make the chicken or the beef, but it's the same type of meat every time. You know what I'm saying? It's the same breakfast almost every time, you know. I know it's boring for a lot of people. It's like, how do you eat that? But, you know, it's like I already know that it's like, it's healthy.
Yeah, it's got what you need.
It's got what I need. And I know it's going to keep me full until the next time it's time for me to eat. And I know I'm pregnant. I shouldn't be worried about that. But, you know, there's so many things also that when you're pregnant that can happen. You can become diabetic, high blood pressure. You know, there's all those things. And I'm conscious of that even when I'm pregnant. So, you know, I try to be conscious of those things all the time, not just now, but more so now. He was like, I'm like, anytime our groceries end up being like $200, I'm like, damn, man. I'm like, I try to keep it at 160, 180, and I know it's not, but you know, so today I asked Sean, I'm like, okay, Sean, if we're spending this much money on food, how much do you spend on groceries? Because he's got him having tilapia, salmon, steak. I mean, he eats our train. I mean, obviously that's why he looks the way he does, right? He eats clean 100%. I said, do you eat out? He goes, not really.
Yeah.
He's like, rarely. He's like, you know, they got all kind of bullshit now in this food. He's like, you don't really even know what they're putting in it. He's like, it's almost scary. It's like you're almost letting somebody control what they're putting into your body by eating it. I'm like, okay, I never saw it that way, but I enjoy like having
that's a guilty pleasure. Going out for a drink and a dinner.
Or going out for dinner together. Like, for example, something that we want to start. We just started doing is going to church, right? And right after having lunch and then going to go walk at Memorial Park, right? But because I was being cheap last week, right? I was like, well, we just went grocery shopping. So let's go all the way home, right? And eat. And then we can come all the way back. I mean, we're only 12 minutes away from it. I get it. It's 12 minutes, but he's like, he feels it's so far, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. And so he's like, I told him, I said, fine. Then when that'll be our only outing then as our family dinner, instead of eating out on Saturdays or Friday nights when, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be Sunday after church. I said, because we try not to eat out a lot. Right. And it's for healthy reasons and because obviously for financial reasons, because you spend so much money when you eat out almost. I mean, just on a weekend alone, you can easily spend $300. You know what I'm saying? Like eating out for breakfast, for lunch. Trust me, we've done it before to where it's like, we're eating at home. Like, why are we eating out? There's groceries there, you know? I'm like, I'm just going to cook, you know? Obviously it's more convenient. But when he said that, he's like, we're allowing them to put whatever they want in our body. I was like, oh, I never looked at it that way, because it's like, we're mingling, we're hanging out, you know what I'm saying? It's family time. It's cool. He's like, I cook. So he said he spends about $1,000 a month on groceries.
Bruh.
He's by himself. There's no other one person.
Damn.
But he only shops at Whole Foods.
It's a little extra, Sean. Being a little extra.
I was like, $1,000 a month. Yeah, I can't say I budget for $1,000 a month.
Nah.
I grocery shop maybe every week and a half. He shops every week. He goes through his food every week. But he doesn't eat out. He doesn't eat out at all. Not for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Isn't that crazy?
You know, it's a lifestyle. That's his lifestyle choice.
Yeah. I remember he had gone to Italy with his ex-girlfriend, and we bumped into him at Fiesta. And I said, are you competing? He goes, no. He was like, I just couldn't eat that garbage in Italy. He's like, I lost weight while I was out there. I mean, he had lost so much weight. I thought he was like trying to lean out for a competition. That's how much weight he lost. He was so much smaller, everything. I was like, okay, I'm not that extreme. Like even when I'm like my fittest, when I wasn't competing, if we were going to go hang out together, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to eat something. When we went to Italy, I'm not going to lie to you, I was tired of pasta. I was tired of bread. It was like, this is enough. Like, where's some protein here? Like, y'all don't put no protein in y'all's food.
But
Like,
also,
shit.
all I've ever heard is like they have better food because they don't have the preservatives that we use, and there's just different guidelines with their food.
And also, even when I went to China with my girlfriend, like, because their fridges are so small, they can't keep so much. Their areas are so small. They have to buy fresh every day. So I would go with her in the morning to buy her vegetables.
Oh, wow.
And her meat that the IE would cook later on that afternoon or for lunch or for dinner. You know what I'm saying? But it was crazy because she's like, yeah, so they only keep in their fridge like milk, like things that, you know, like I guess you could keep in there, like juice and stuff like that. But as far as like their meats and stuff, she didn't keep any of that. And you know, it was like they have to go get that every morning.
That
fresh.
sounds cool and cute until you're like, God, this is annoying. Every day I got to do this.
But it's kind of, it was fun because that was like your morning walk too. So it was like you're exercising as well. So we'd pick up coffee on the way. We'd pick out like, and then the vegetables look so pretty. You just like, you want to buy these vegetables just because the color's so pretty and fresh. I'm like, gosh, I'm like, it's almost going like a farmer's market. You know, it looks so pretty when it's like, I hate going to farmer's markets. I'll buy vegetables that I don't even know how to use, but it just looks so pretty. I just want to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's like, man, you know, but, yeah, I was thinking about all that. When he said that, I was thinking about health, and then it made me think about like people on drugs, and just like that girl was saying, like, when I was watching those videos of how that girl, it made me think about how that girl was saying, like, man, I'm just trying to get like at least one meal a day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like they'll do whatever they can. She's like, we'll wash cars just to be able to get that one meal. So one meal a day. We're talking about one meal a day. I mean, it was bananas. I like, trust me, this is the reason why I like sometimes try not to watch anything, you know, because it's like, I'm such an analyzer, and I think, and then I'm like, how can I want to solve the world and help the world. And I'm like, how can I solve that problem? What can I put out there that could help bring awareness to that? That's my mentality all the time. When I see something that I feel is like outrageous, it's like, why is that happening? Why is that happening in 2021? Totally. We have technology. There's so much happening. And it just goes back to, I think, like, and I hate to say this, which I know everyone says, no, it's not, but it goes back to politics, whatever way, you know, this greed of like, you know what I'm saying, of what's happening, you know, it's like insane to me. Just because I just feel like, y'all, come on, man, it's 20. We should not be struggling. We should not be struggling as much. You're always, we all make our decisions. We all decide what we want to do every morning. You can either work hard to get, you know, where you want to be, or you can just be like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to wait around and see what happens. Right. I mean, I guess if you have that mentality, that's probably the reason you're in the position that you're in. Right.
That's a good way to put a pin in it. That's a good way to end the conversation. I mean, personal accountability, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's why it's so hard for me sometimes when I see the homeless. Yeah. I'm always like, bro, like, I was like, do you ever look at the homeless and just say, where in life, what happened in life? Where did it happen to where you derailed? And this is where you ended up.
Yeah.
And at when and how or why did you not ever think like, I don't want to live this life anymore. I got to go find a job. Even if I like have to go into like a facility just to shower and change so I can get a job. That's why I had the Fresh Project, because I see what they were trying to do.
Totally.
Because there's probably some people out there. If you haven't listened to that podcast, guys, please take a listen. It's the Fresh Project. I get why they were trying to, you know what I'm saying, set up these showers for people who maybe do want to change so that they can get a job. So it's like they're doing great things. And then you have those, like she said, that would prefer to be out doing drugs and don't want to take the help, you know? So it's like, what happens there? You know, that's what I mean. There's just so many things that happen in this world. We don't ever take the time to think about why. We're so quick to judge. We're so quick to have an opinion because we're in an opinion fucking world right now. Everybody's got an opinion. I swear. I'm so over it. So over it. Like, Jesus, like just live life, love each other, love your family, take care of your kids. And do good, man. Just be a good, just be a good person. It's just like, why you always got to be, you know, always got some stupid to say, some little opinion. Everybody's always fighting about what side you're on. And it's like, I was listening to Scott Adams with Pete the other day, and he said, it's like, I don't call myself a Republican and I don't call myself a Democrat. He's like, because I'm not going to be labeled, because now I've just given myself a label. And I said, well, that's a good way to look at shit. I'm like, I told Peter, I said, that's how I feel. I don't feel like I'm either. I just feel like I am somebody who has common fucking sense. And I look at things and I'm like, that's not right. And that's not right. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at things now differently. And that's why I said the last time when Marissa was on was, I'm so upset at myself that before I like was so tunnel vision into what I personally thought was the way it should be and why it should only be that way, and never cared to see it from the other side. Even though Pete has pointed out several times that I've had so many conservative views and I never even like thought that they were conservative views. I thought they were just, that's just how I was raised and that's how I thought, right? But now that I understand, right? I've taken the time to read and I've taken the time to see two different point of views so that I can make my own decision. It's kind of like, that's why it makes me so angry when someone can't have a conversation with you and they want to get loud or they want to like, I can't even do that conversation. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of like have to smile and just be like, it's so sad that you haven't even explored the other side of that same topic, because you could probably learn a thing or two and come up with a better conclusion to where now you have better arguments, right? If I don't know about something, I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about it, right?
And it kind of like prompts you to go look into it. So
Exactly.
That you know.
That's why I never post political shit on my Instagram. I don't know enough about it. I'm still learning and I'm still observing and I'm still watching and I'm still like understanding, you know, and also I think that's your job to do. Like, I don't need to like push it on you, but you know what I'm saying? I do feel that this is the podcast has allowed me to kind of like speak more freely versus, you know, I sincerely love to put out positivity. That's number one for me. I don't like to push negativity on anything or anybody or talk shit. You know what I'm saying? I just don't, you know, but I do, because I'm somebody who likes to inform. This is the reason why I had told Pete, I was like, I want to talk about things on my podcast. And if it makes you not like me, then I'm sorry that it makes you not like me. But at least I've kind of a little bit made you kind of see, well, what is she talking about? You know what I'm saying? Let me go look it up myself. And then now you can decide for yourself, like, she's wrong because you still don't see my point of view, or, you know, I can see her point of view, but I still don't agree with it. And that's okay.
Totally.
I don't understand why right now we can't be okay with someone not agreeing with you. It's like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Temperatures are just too high.
It's just too high. And you know what it is? I think so too, is that people are so stressed out right now. They're so stressed out and there's so much going on to where it's like, motherfuckers just want to stir the pot. You know, instead of like, listen, let me tell you, let me give you some good things you can do to help whatever situation. I know they want to just be adding more shit. And I'm just like, for example, I don't know why I follow, but again, I follow people just because I have to see both sides, right?
Get some insight.
Exactly. So Lena Hidalgo, who is our judge, county judge here. I don't know how I feel about her. I really don't know how I feel about her. I admire her for having a position that is she's a female, one. She's Hispanic too. So I admire her for that, right? I don't want her job, right? But I really hate that she should maybe approach things a little bit different. Like the whole voter situation thing she just posted about, she's like, this is only going to make voting harder. Well, why should it be easy though? I don't understand why voting should be easy. We make it hard for people to buy alcohol.
I didn't read it.
I didn't finish reading it either, just because I didn't want to mess with it. So I was like, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole, and I'm just going to go read more, and I got shit to do, because that's what happens. Yeah. I end up I get lost, and then I'm like, oh my God, I still haven't done this and that. Well, why didn't you, Mariswole? Because maybe you were just sitting there, you know, mad at the phone because you're reading something, you know? And, but it was like, so many people are like, oh, they're making it so hard for people to vote. And I just don't get why it should be easy. Like, we make it hard for you to go buy a gun, buy alcohol, but
cigarettes,
like Ethan just said, I didn't even know it was 21 and up now, you know, driving. So why should voting even, I honestly, when I think about it, it's like, why is it at 18? What the fuck do you know at 18?
Yeah, that too, for sure.
I just realized that. I was like, I don't think I knew I voted at 18. I think that was the first time I voted and I felt so proud of myself. I honestly think that was Clinton. I think it was Clinton.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of, you know, especially one particular party's agenda is to grab onto that young mind, you know, influence with, you know, the culture war that's going on now because the left is very, you know, it's immersed in our culture and that's what they push that message. So 18 is weird. I think it's a little early to vote and have that kind of a say-so and be an audience that everybody tries to go after so that you can solidify that young vote. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand why people don't want voter IDs. What the fuck's the big deal about not? Of course, you should have an ID.
You need an ID for everything, to write a check, to open a bank account.
Such a dumb
It isn't. I don't understand. Voting is such an important thing. And again, I know I'm being a hypocrite because in the past, I honestly never voted in an educated way. I voted because it was the majority and it was what was on the news and it's what I thought. And hey, if they're saying it's probably true.
Yeah.
Why would there be something else against that? You know what I'm saying?
Not real.
Yeah. I'm like, you know, and that's honestly, that is my biggest frustration is that I didn't understand any of this stuff until way later on. It's sad that I'm almost 40 and I'm barely getting it. And I'm barely still getting it, guys, because I still don't 100% understand it. Even when there's like these accounts that I follow when they're posting this, and I'm just like, ooh, I don't know enough about that. Damn. Like, I wish that I could like understand what they're talking about. So now I go read about whatever there is that they're, you know, arguing about. And it's kind of like, oh, damn, how does that affect what? I didn't even know that affected us in that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you start to realize things. And it's like, if you're a young person listening to this podcast, let's just say you're about 25, 26, man, that whole joke with that, you can't believe everything you see on the internet. What insurance company was that? You can't believe everything you read on the internet.
I can't remember.
I don't remember. Was it like Jake with State Farm? One of those, whatever it was. It's so funny now because I totally 100% say that all the time. I'm like, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, who wrote it?
Where are the sources?
Where are the sources?
Is it an anonymous source?
Exactly. So it's like, it's so hard out there to make even, that's why it's like, I just be like observing the world instead. And I'm just like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? All right. So I don't understand how that works. So I'm going to look for somebody to come on my podcast to explain it to me and my listeners. Totally. So that if you've ever been curious about it, or if you've ever wondered, or, you know, whatever the subject is, I'm not saying a specific subject. I'm just saying if you've ever wondered why or whatever, this is something that could educate us all. And we'd be like, interesting. I never even knew that. Or that's interesting. I'm having Brianda. That's how you pronounce her name, right?
Brianda.
Next week for Women's Month. And when I was on her podcast, we talked about feminism. And it was crazy because someone else left this comment on the podcast messages. I don't remember who. And someone said, you know what you should talk about? She said, discrimination within our own community based on our color. And I was like, what? And I was like, I never even thought about that, you know?
Like a light-skinned Latina versus a dark-skinned Latina?
And then it made me think of Brianda because she told me that when she won, what was it? Miss
Houston Latina?
Okay. It was the pageant, right? Yeah. What is it? Is it the Texas pageant or is it a Houston only?
I think she was Houston's.
Houston?
Yeah.
Okay. She said that she was up against someone whose daughter was kind of like, whose dad was kind of like well known in Houston. And so they were pissed that she lost against Brianda. And then that she's like, well, she's not even a real Mexican because she's got colored eyes and she's got light skin. And I was like, when she told me that on her podcast, it's like, for real? She was like, yeah. And I was like, what? I don't ever look at a Mexican and be like, oh my God, look how dark that Mexican is. You know what I'm saying?
Nunca están contentos. Everybody's always upset about something.
That's what I mean. If we just took a little bit of time every day to do something more like caring, like
I think the overarching message is like keep an open mind.
Yeah.
You know, be kind. It's kind of simple thing. We're not asking too much of people.
Life is honestly super simple, and everything else that happens is just like shit that it's almost like simulation. It's like, man, I never, guys, if you've ever listened
welcome.
to the Red Pill Tamales, I was against whenever they talked about this because my gosh, I hate talking about this thing because it's a scary thing to me. But I think like things like politics are almost like a level you're playing in a video game. You know what I'm saying? It's like this level where you're like figuring it out and you still haven't figured out, you haven't won, and you haven't jumped on the flag like Super Mario Brother and brought it down and you won. You know what I'm saying? You still haven't figured it out. And that's kind of how life is. It really is a simulation. When I was like, I don't really know who's handling me, right? But it's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you think about life, it's like, it really is a total game. And you really are the chooser of how you're going to win this life.
Well, you know, they started coming out with more games and shows and movies that are like choose your own adventure. And Netflix had a whole thing where it's like, you would choose this option and the show would go in a whole different way. Or you choose this option. It's like an open world video game. So life is in itself, I know it's kind of a loose way to put it or a simple way, but it is a choose your own adventure. Every decision you make is going to lead you towards a whole different road, and your decisions, you know, there forward are going to be different if you would have done something else.
I've been kind of like this since I was young. It's funny because I don't know why I've always like when we were in high school, you know how you like do after your senior is like you go party, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, I didn't want to go party because I was like, fuck that shit. I'm about to graduate and finally go to college. I'm doing something that like no one in my family has done, and I'm gonna go party. Watch me be that one person that fucking dies because I was like partying and one of you dumbasses were driving and killed me. And so, you know what I'm saying? There goes that. She died at 18 and she was just on her way to graduating. You know, I was like, sorry guys, I'm not joining y'all. I didn't do that. I didn't go to Galveston for prom. I stayed at Project Prom. I stayed locked up at the school and did the school thing and let my parents come pick me up in the morning. I did. I am. That's seriously the way I think. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's a choice. Yeah. It's like, and I know it's like so far-fetched, like, come on, man. And I know that God decides when you're going to go. You don't really ever know. But if you can kind of avoid it.
Hey, this isn't Final Destination, right? You're not going to escape death. It will find you.
Geez, I just kind of think that way sometimes. It's like, you know, and it never fails. Like, I scare myself sometimes. Like, even like, when Lisa picks up Penny sometimes, like today, she went to go play at this Jumping World, play with her grandkids because they're on vacation for spring break. Mm-hmm. And the whole time I'm like, oh my God, I'm like praying as they leave. I'm like, please God, like watch over them, let them get to their destination safe. I'm like, and so I'm like sitting there waiting for the text to come through. And I'm like, okay, she hasn't texted. I'm like working out and I still don't see the text. So I was like, give me a second, Sean. I go and I'm like, so did y'all make it okay? Cause I ain't heard from you and it's been 45 minutes. Like, okay. And then she replies, she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. She goes, she came straight in the house and went to the trampoline to go jump with Michelle. And I was like, okay, just wanted to make sure you're okay. But that's how my brain works. I'm like,
I understand that 100%.
Man, I'm just like thinking and I'm just like, oh my God, what if some idiot, not necessarily her, but some idiot like hits them and she's in the back. And that's how I think. I mean, I know it could happen even with me driving,
dude,
right?
I know. I totally get it. And I think it's kind of a Hispanic thing as well. Like just instilled in us. Because yesterday, I mean, Don's mom was visiting for 2 days and Brooklyn went to go walk the dog with Don's mom just in the complex. And I'm like, all right, it's been 10 minutes. This little bitty ass dog isn't going to walk that far, you know? It's just fucking weird, man. Just overly cautious, but at the same time trying to be like, not a helicopter parent, like you said.
I know. And I'm like that with Mickey. Yeah. And I try not to be because I know, you know, she has her own mom and, you know, that's who, you know, makes her rules at the end of the day. But I just like watch, like, you know, so her mom lets her wear a little bit more makeup, like for events. She'll actually have like a makeup artist come and do her makeup, like if they have a wedding or like for New Year's and stuff. I remember she sent a picture and I just thought, oh my gosh, she's wearing so much makeup and she's so she's 12 to me, you know?
Is she 12? She's 12?
She's 12.
Damn.
Yeah. She'll be 13 this year. But, whenever I got her ready for Lucky's wedding,
yeah.
I put makeup on her. And she's like, I said, I'm going to give you a very natural look. I'm not doing the contouring on your face. I'm not doing all that. You're 12, you know? I said, I'm going to give you a very natural look. So she was like, all right. So she sends me this TikTok of some girl. She's like, it's a very natural look, but can you do this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm not doing that. That girl done contoured her nose. And she's like, can you add a little bit of something to make mine? And so then I had to tell her, I'm like,
Mija.
no, I said, I don't know what you've been watching. I said, but you're perfect the way you are. You don't need a pointy nose. I said, you don't need higher cheekbones. I said, you're completely perfect. I said, the way God made you, you're beautiful. I said, makeup is just an enhancement. It's just for fun. I said, it's just if you want to add like a little dazzle on you. I said, you don't need to do all of that stuff. Not yet. I said, what you decide to do in life later on is up to you. I said, but right now, I still have control. I said, you're 12, and I'm not going to let you look like you just walked out of a Botox office. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it. I'm not. And I said, I know your mom lets you wear a little bit more makeup. I said, I get it. I was like, but I'm sorry. I said, this is how I feel. I said, and you know, she goes, no, it looks perfectly fine. I was like, okay. And I felt like I gave her just the right amount of makeup for her age. You know what I'm saying? For that event. Yeah. You know, I know she's growing up. I mean, I'm not trying to be like this, like my mom was overly strict. Like,
oh yeah,
there's no way at 12 she would have been like, oh yeah, go ahead and put on some little bit of makeup. I remember my aunt got married and I was going to wear makeup because she had makeup artists come in. Excuse me. And she was like, no, quítale allí, trae mucho. And I'm like, oh my God, this lady barely put anything on me. Quit exaggerating. Even for my quinceañera, if you look at my poor picture, it's like, what did she do to her face anyway? She ain't got nothing on, you know? As it is, I don't grow eyebrows. So you can see the pencil where that lady tried to like pencil my eyebrow in because I don't grow no hair, you know? And I'm just like looking at the makeup and I'm like, okay, my pictures are supposed to be like this, but okay. I'm wearing like the lightest pink shade of lipstick. Like I might as well wear nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is my mom because there was no way she was going to allow that much makeup. I think 15... You're fine. Even like I think when you're in high school.
Yeah, 15 is freshman.
I think that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you want to do to your face. If you decide you want to cake on the base, I'm sorry, and it's not base. That's base. What is it called?
Concealer, right? Or foundation?
Yeah, it's foundation. Thank you. Foundation, concealer, bronzer. If you want to wear the whole 9 yards, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? You're already in high school. Do you. But right now, you know.
I could see your reaction when you say, every time you say a story about your mom, you always have that, oh God, I can see you doing that as a kid.
That's exactly how I was as a kid. Because I just didn't understand. It was too much. I think it was too much. I appreciate it. I might have turned out fucked up, maybe. I don't know. Had she not been like that.
Childhood trauma.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. But I mean, I thank her for, you know, for her being the way. I think sometimes it's too much. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know, to where it makes you lie. Like I lied to her a lot. That and I'll admit that 100%. That's what I tell Pete all the time. I want to be strict, but I don't want to be strict to the point where my kids are always lying to me and I'm having to find out and I'm having to see what they're having to snoop or, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. I want for us to, we ain't going to be best friends, right?
No.
But we are going to be, I want you to know that I'm not, regardless if it was a bad thing, I'm not going to be mad at you. We need to discuss this and we need to learn a lesson from it because it doesn't need to happen again. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's not going to be 3 strikes, you're out here. It's like you learn from it from the first time and you don't do it again because that's what mistakes are for, right? For you to learn it so that you don't do it again. So, you know, I don't want to be that way. I hope I'm not that way. My dad was a little bit more laid back. So I think that's why I have the combo of the two where I see the strictness where it's useful. But my dad was a little bit more laid back to where I didn't lie to him as much. You would think that you'd be lying more to your dad. I didn't lie to him because I always felt like, damn, he always lets me do what I want. And I'm going to lie to him. So I'd always like, it'd be a fib more than a lie.
White lie.
Yeah, it'd be more like, okay, so we are going here, but I'm not going to tell you who's all going to be there. Like, there are going to be boys there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that part, but it is all my girls.
Just stretching the truth.
Yeah, exactly. So it was about kind of be like that, you know. It wouldn't be like he was always the one I didn't lie to, because it was always like, man, he's the one that like lets me do what I want to do, and I'm gonna go lie to him. Like that's kind of it's kind of fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So I'd be like, Dad, I want to go do this, and he'll be like, and I'll be like, well, can you take me then? If you don't want me to go with them, can you take me? All right. Well, if I'm going to take you, that's fine. That's where my whole thing about me telling the girls when they're older, like,
taking them to the club.
I'm going to take y'all to the club. I'll drop y'all off. I ain't got to pick y'all up. I'll pretend to be y'all's Uber. Y'all right in the back. Y'all get out, you know? But and like you said, I don't even think that that's going to be cool when they're older.
Yeah, no,
I don't think so. I don't even think, I don't know. It might be like beer garden style places, like where it's more like an Eighth Wonder type of thing. Where I think that's what's going to be more popular when they're older. Because I don't even think my younger cousins, I don't see them really at the clubs that much. I see them more at like bars, more like an Eighth Wonder. What are those called? Are those beer gardens or what are they called?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I see them more at those type of places where you can play games outside, drink a beer, rather than, I don't see them at the club. I don't know what clubs are like anymore.
Yeah, I don't. My sister's not like that. She's 5 years younger, and she's really not like into the club scene. No, yeah. And there's more of those places. I've seen more places in Midtown and stuff where it's just like a big, you know, outdoor patio looking thing, and they have umbrellas, you know, or the whole little thing, tables and stuff, or like picnic tables and stuff.
Yep. Times have changed.
We're just old. We're just getting old.
Is it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, talking about that, Pete was telling me you wouldn't even know a Tupac song.
I didn't.
I fell out my chair.
He did too.
That is my baby daddy, but he don't know it.
Really? That's hilarious.
Oh
no, dude,
God.
because last week I think it was Biggie's birthday.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's crazy. And then he started bringing up Tupac and Biggie and stuff, and I was like, dude, I can't name you a Tupac song.
When he told me, I said, I legit, I was eating and I said, what? Rob said, what? I said, no way. I said, I'm calling him right now. And he started laughing. I said, oh my, that's what I grew up. Like, I had
Don loves Tupac and Biggie.
Posters in my house, like in my room. I was a fan of Biggie, but I didn't have a poster of Biggie. I had a poster of Tupac.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean,
oh, man.
that was like my dog.
Yeah, he's trying to make me feel bad. I was like, name me a Pantera song. He's like, oh, okay, I know who Pantera is, but I can't name you a song. I was like, yeah, exactly.
I can't name you a song either.
Motherfuckers. Grew up in the country, heavy metal in country.
No, that was me. I told you I didn't hear country until I moved to College Station. And that's where I started liking, really when I started going to Stratford High School.
Dude.
Because at the pep rallies, they would pay. That was like how we'd get it.
College Station is like, it's an epicenter for some of the best Texas country artists to go through Hurricane Harry's and that area.
I love, whenever we were out there, I told Pete, I was like, I kind of miss being out here. I was like, I forgot how, just a little bit slower of a pace of life is out here. I forgot how like they all knew each other. It was like even this weekend in San Angelo, Sydney, the owner of the place, he said somebody had bought tickets for the 10 o'clock show and there wasn't enough tickets sold for the 10 p.m. So we wanted everybody to go to the first show. So I said, I'll have to email them. I was like, because I mean, that's the only way I can contact them. And he was like, well, who is it? And so I sent him a screenshot of the names. He's like, all right, let me text them real quick. One of them is the owner of blah, 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 restaurant down the street, And this one is, so he knew all of them. I was like, cool. Isn't that crazy? Like in a smaller town, you may not know them, but
You're familiar.
I know who that is. Yeah. That's so-and-so's son or,
You ever seen Varsity Blues?
Yeah, I don't remember it clearly though, but I remember it. Yeah.
That's what I imagine College Station was.
It was. It is. Yeah.
And that's how my little town was as well.
You're just smaller than College Station.
It was
now.
A lot smaller. Yeah, a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Same vibe though.
Because I told you my friend's husband is from Needville.
Yeah.
They still have. No, they sold their house that they had out there.
Dude, that little area is growing, man. It's growing. The subdivisions out there. You're seeing some $500,000 houses out there being built. People are just buying these big plots of land and making the little ranch-style homes out there.
Did Pete tell you about our drive back?
No.
Oh, it's funny. We stopped somewhere.
Oh, yeah, the restaurant. He did tell me about this. You're like, oh, I got an idea. It would be a cool little restaurant to put here, right?
Yeah. Well, I was sitting there and I was like, what do people even do out here for
That's
work?
What it was. You're like, what do they do? And Pete was like, man, there's some Silicon Valley people coming out here, right? And buying these houses.
I was like, no, I don't think so. I was like, look, there's nothing. And we get in the car. We keep driving further down. I was like, what the? I was like, where are these big ass houses coming from? I was like,
Where were you?
Jesus. A little bit outside of Austin.
Oh, yeah.
The outskirts. And I said, okay,
That's where Rogan lives.
this I can do. I said, I can do this because here's why. Although you're still very country and small, they still, if you go down the street, there's still a Whole Foods. There's like, it's called the Galleria of something. It's still, so they still have all the name brand stores. You can still go to like a TJ Maxx. It's like just a shopping center, and they're just right there to where you don't feel like you're too away from the city, but you're still outside of the city, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then if you go a little bit further down, you have those barbecue small town type places,
yeah.
you know? So I told him, I said, okay, so if there was a place like this in Houston, or it was like in the country, but you still have a little bit of city life, I could do that. I can do that. Because you're away, but you're not away. That's kind of why I want to, even though Spring Branch is still considered Houston, it's still part of, you're in the inner loop. You're not in the country, but they have a little bit more area. So you still have more yard and you still have like, more of a suburb in the city, if that makes sense, versus a suburb.
I feel that's how like Fulshire is. I haven't been out to Fulshire in a while, but if you keep going
I haven't
out.
been out there in a while either.
I've heard it's beautiful, and it's
My aunt is in Sugarland now.
Nice.
And she had bought that house as her rental, right? And her house, she bought that house as her rental. She was fixing it. She had put her house on the market because she wanted another house. They wanted to go further down in. They were already in Richmond.
Nice.
So they wanted to go further into Richmond, right? So she was like, oh, it's going to be a while. We're in a pandemic. Ain't nobody going to buy my house anytime soon. It's just like, so we're just going to start fixing our rental that we just bought, It's near a golf course area.
Okay. Like Sweetwater Country Club, or
I think that's what it's called, Sweetwater Country
love
Club.
Sweetwater. I love that area.
it's an older subdivision. Yeah,
It's like old Sugarland money.
Okay, then that's, you know what is crazy is that nice neighborhood that I'm telling you about is called Sweetwater, because I remembered it, and because I said I'm going to look up to see how much these houses are over there in Katy. I'm sorry, not Katy, Austin.
Oh, okay.
They're called Sweetwater too. And I remember the names. I'm like, I'm going to look that up to see how much they are out there. They're just so pretty. They're on the hill.
Yeah.
Just nice. Anyway, my point with that is my aunt and I were talking about that. So she said, she was like, we're going to start fixing this house. It'll be a while anyway before they'll buy our house. Well, she put her house on the market. And then like a week later, they had like 4 or 5 buyers. And it was like, oh shit. So they had to move into their rental because the house sold. And so they started fixing it up. And she's like, I get to everywhere I need to go. She goes,
15
like
minutes.
15 minutes.
Yeah,
she's
dude.
like, I don't know that I want to go further in now. She's like, it's a smaller house than what they had before, but it's just her and my uncle, her husband.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it. So it's not like they need all this space. It's still a 3-bedroom house. So they have 2 extra bedrooms, it's enough space for them too, but they were going bigger. So they were doing bigger. She's like, I'm going bigger this time around. You know what I'm saying? So they were in a newer home. They sold that. That's the one that they sold in Richmond. And anyway, it was funny because she's like, I don't think I want to leave here. She's like, I like this little rental. And meanwhile, her husband's like, so we're done. Let's go. Are we moving? Are we renting it out? She's like, no, I like it here. She's like, what? So they've done the patio. They've redone everything. It looks so good now. She's done a
nice
very good job.
backyard with a nice patio.
Yeah, that's exactly what she did.
Hell yeah.
She wants to. She was thinking of a pool, and then she's like, I don't know. I like that I just have the yard and my patio. It just feels kind of nice, rather than having a pool.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can see that. Yeah. As she was saying, she's like, I kind of like. She goes, and if I ever wanted to sell this, it's a little bit harder to sell a pool sometimes. Yep. She's like,
hard to maintain. They're expensive.
She's like, and some parents don't want it because they're afraid the kids will fall in, blah, blah, blah. We need a bigger house for sure. I can't wait.
She was just saying that before you got here.
Yeah. I was like,
office space, something.
Yeah. I told him already. I was like, okay. I said, we've got to start budgeting for
Planning.
A bigger house. Yeah. So we got to get out of here. My plan was to be here for 5 years. We've only made 3 here.
Well, with the pandemic and all, it feels like it's been another 3 years in the last 12 months.
For real. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I know this podcast was about everything.
Everything, literally. I don't know how you and I did 2 hours.
I don't know either, but I have something in store for you guys, and I'll announce it. Not this Thursday, maybe.
Probably next week.
Maybe next week. Not this. Maybe not this week, but next week. I'll announce it. And just I'd love to hear feedback, guys. If you are listening to the podcast, shoot us an email at herloungepodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you'd like to hear more of. If you don't like these girl talk conversations, even this solo podcast, I know I ramble. I am a talker. This is why I love podcasting.
I love it. Chatty Cathy's.
For sure. But if you're somebody who's an avid listener, I'd appreciate your feedback. Even if you just even rate us on on
Please.
Apple, that'd be great. We've had a few new ones, people that have left comments on there. So I appreciate you guys leaving some new reviews. But yeah, I'd love to hear where you guys are. Give me some ideas. I have to brainstorm. I have to watch videos in the shower about drug addicts, prostitutes. It'd be dope to have a prostitute on here, though.
Totally down.
Right? But where could I find a recovering prostitute, like somebody who's not a prostitute anymore?
No, I want somebody that's still in the trenches.
Oh, they're still in the trenches? Man, but what if she'd be... I don't know.
We'll brainstorm on that
Yeah,
as
I'm
well.
brainstorm on that. But, I do, because how do you become a prostitute?
Maybe we can find... There was a doc on Netflix that I tried to look the name up. I couldn't remember. I think it was like Wanted or Hotness or something like that, where it's just a story of these like pretty, I guess, kind of semi-known porn stars or like adult actresses and stuff, and how it kind of leads to some of those roads. Maybe we can get somebody that's been on a doc or a movie just to
see. I'd love to talk to somebody just to see how that ends up happening.
Yeah.
They
might be great and they might convince people to do it. I don't know.
Okay, guys.
We're not
that
advocating.
I'm not convincing, but you see, those are things that I'm curious about. I don't know if anybody else is out there like wonders
I'm
these
sure
things.
they are.
But anyway, I'd love to hear feedback, guys. This is the only way, whether it be good criticism, bad criticism, the only way we get better is by hearing from you guys.
There you
So, I appreciate it all. I appreciate you guys listening also as well. And I hope that idea that I kind of have will maybe...
I think it'll be a dope idea.
I hope you guys might like it, and we can go from there. But anyhow, I hope you guys have a great... we have one more podcast this week with Marissa. And
so we'll see you on Friday.
We'll see y'all on Friday again. Thank you guys for listening. See you on Friday.